In an unexpected twist of justice, Democrat Judge Joel Kano faces a life sentence after President Donald Trump's administration authorized the arrest of a notorious Tren de Aragua gang member who was found hiding in Kano's home. This explosive event has ignited national outrage and support, shedding light on the corruption that has plagued America's justice system. The story began on a quiet morning in Arlington, when a neighbor noticed strange movement through Judge Kano's curtains. At first, no one thought much of it. Kano was a respected judge known for his emotional speeches about justice and second chances. However, two ICE agents were in the area tracking a fugitive member of the Tren de Aragua gang when their heat sensors picked up unusual movement coming from Kano's residence. Without hesitation, they knocked on the door, and when it was not answered, they pushed inside. What they found was chilling. A man with tattoos on his neck and arms, breathing hard, crouched behind a couch, armed with a stolen military weapon. The tattoos matched one of the most feared gang symbols in the Western Hemisphere. The man dropped the weapon and surrendered when ordered to do so, muttering, "Don't shoot, I'll talk." But what followed was even more startling. Inside his jacket was a crumpled piece of paper with names, addresses, and codes. At the top of the list was Joel Kano's name and address. The ICE agents immediately radioed headquarters. This wasn't just a match. It was a direct link to the judge. Kano wasn't just housing a fugitive. He was harboring him. Within the hour, President Trump was briefed on the situation. His response was clear. "We don't tolerate corruption, not in my America." He didn't stop there. He made a direct order to ICE. "Do not let this man walk." That evening, as helicopters circled above Judge Kano's house, he sat quietly in his backyard, already aware that the news had broken. Cameras flashed. Protesters shouted, some defending him, others demanding answers. When a reporter asked, "Why was that gang member in your home?" Kano simply responded, "It's not that simple." His calm demeanor, his silence, spoke volumes. Later that night, Kano resigned. No press conference, no apology, just a simple email stating, "I hereby resign effective immediately." To some, it appeared to be shame. To others, it was guilt. President Trump, fully briefed, was unsatisfied with resignation alone. He tapped his desk and said 6 words. "Resignation isn't justice. Prepare the warrant." ICE agents returned to Kano's home the next morning with a search warrant. They weren't just looking for a fugitive now. They were searching for answers. The list or two. One was the gang member they had just arrested. The other was a known arms trafficker. One image even showed Cano laughing beside a table lined with drinks and assault rifles. This wasn't just about harboring criminals. It was about involvement. ICE uploaded the evidence, and by noon, the White House was briefed. President Trump stared at one photograph for several seconds before quietly saying, "He's not just a judge, he's a pipeline." The investigation continued, and agents found more. Letters written in Spanish, dated years back, found behind a drawer in Cano's study. The letters, signed with the initials RG, were chilling. "We moved the next shipment through your back gate. No cops, no cameras. Trust me, Co. If you want your cut, make sure the court date disappears." The worst part? Some of these letters were written while Cano was still presiding over cases, sentencing people for lesser crimes, all the while sheltering killers in his own home. The discovery shook ICE agents to their core. This wasn't just about corruption. It was about lies in plain sight. When Trump saw the letters, he stood up and said, "We're not cleaning a house, we're cleaning a system." That evening, Trump made a quiet, direct call to the Homeland Security Director. His voice was calm but firm. He resigned, but that's not enough. We don't walk away from this. Trump wasn't seeking revenge. He was after accountability. He knew if Kano walked free, others like him would feel protected. The American people trusted him. He broke that trust, Trump said. Kano wasn't hiding. He was waiting, sitting in the same house, daring anyone to come for him. But somewhere in that house, the back gate was still open. At 3 a.m., a knock came. Not at Kano's door, but at his neighbor Miss Rita's house. She had seen something she hadn't told anyone until now. The man with tattoos, the one found in Kano's house, had entered through the back fence at night. Miss Rita had witnessed them arguing once. The man pointed a gun at Kano, but Kano didn't flinch. This wasn't mercy, it was control. ICE agents later found an old, scratched phone in Kano's home, one with encrypted messages. The final thread read, "Your window is closing. Move fast." It was clear now that Kano had been warned, but he stayed, thinking he was untouchable. Later, a sealed envelope arrived at the White House with no return address. Inside was a letter written by a former housekeeper of Judge Kano. She described finding a suitcase full of money under his bed. Kano had told Trump was moved by the public's response. He stood at the podium, holding up a letter from Maria Alvarez, the widow whose husband had been killed by a gang member released by Kano. "This is what justice looks like," Trump said. "This is why we fight." The investigation continued, revealing the series of secret phone calls and recordings. A clerk from the courthouse came forward, claiming she had seen Judge Kano take envelopes from a man under investigation for money laundering. She also shared a recording of a conversation where Kano boasted that he had made friends in the right places and that no one would touch him. When President Trump heard the recording, he was resolute. Let's prove him wrong. The revelations didn't stop there. A photograph surfaced showing Kano shaking hands with a known cartel trafficker, someone ICE had believed was dead. The photo was taken just 3 months ago. Trump's determination only grew. He wasn't just helping criminals, he said. He was protecting monsters. That night, Trump addressed the nation. He held up a photograph of a child's drawing, created by the daughter of a man whom Kano had wrongfully jailed. He paused, then spoke clearly. For too long, the justice system protected the wrong people. A man in a robe let killers into our communities and silenced good families. Trump's message was not about politics. It was about restoring faith in law. The system is broken, but I still believe it can be fixed, he said. 1 week had passed since the revelations began, and the country was still reeling. President Trump stood at the courthouse podium again, handing a gavel to a young girl in the front row. "One day, you might be the one protecting justice," he said. The crowd rose in silent respect, not to cheer, but to believe again in justice. In the end, the story of Judge Joel Kano became a reminder that justice still matters, that no title, no robe, and no amount of corruption can silence the truth.